Jake Paul is the biggest name in combat sports right now. Nobody even cares about Saturday night. No one even cared about the MMA. No one cared. Dana White's like talking about something about this week, and basically Dana White is Jake Paul's puppet. I mean, if Jake Paul don't have more money than him now, he will in a few years. I mean, it's crazy. Jake Paul is the number one combat fighter in the world right now. No one even cared about the UFC Friday night or Saturday night. All they cared about was Jake Paul and Ben Askren. That's it. That's it. Jake Paul is the biggest draw in combat sports right now. It's hilarious. And you know why? Because of this generation. My generation, they wouldn't have watched that. They wouldn't have watched it. They would have laughed at it. But this generation of these nerds that control the world now, they control everything. Jake Paul is the number one draw in combat sports. And Jake Paul is a good fighter. There's no doubt about it. But it is easy when you're fighting guys that can't fight back now. When you get a guy that can actually fight back, it gets a little tougher. I can't wait for that to happen. Listen, I like Jake Paul. I think Jake Paul, I give him credit. He was a YouTuber. He came out, he trains. And if Jake Paul really wants to be taken seriously, he'll get rid of the YouTube persona. This whole entourage, all this garbage he does with these clowns before the fights, whatever, robot, what. That's why no one takes him serious. They think it's just a joke to him. But he does take it serious. If he wants to get respect, he's got to get rid of that goddamn YouTube. That shit don't work in real sports. It ain't wrestling. Boxing, if you want to be taken serious, and if I was Jake Paul, I would seriously try putting on some weight and going up to heavyweight. I would. Because he's young. His prime's still ahead of him. His prime ain't even, for another 6-7 years when you think about it. A fighter's prime is 27 to 32. He ain't even close to his prime. So he puts on weight, bada bing, bada boom, he'll be heavyweight champion. I'm telling you, I can see it in the future. I can see it in Jake Paul's future. I told everyone he was going to beat the fuck out of Askren. Look, Askren didn't train one bit. You know what Askren did to get ready for that fight? He ate about fucking 900 cookies every night just to be able to make weight to get that fight because he wanted to make sure he was heavy enough so they let him fight so he can get that 500 grand. He didn't train. He didn't even try. He went out there. Look, when you throw a fucking jab, you know the next punch is coming with his right hand. Ben Askren didn't even try to move. He took it flush. He went down. I don't even think he was hurt. I think that was his exit. He said, you know what? I got my money. He wanted his money. And I don't blame him. A big good man always beats a big little man. And Ben Askren ain't even a shitty little man. He's horrible. So he had no chance. He could have trained for 5 years. He wasn't beating Jake Paul. He had no chance. So, yeah, Jake Paul, he's got quite a future in combat sports if he gets serious with it. And what I mean by that, got to get rid of all them fucking antics. That's if you want to be taken serious by these other fighters. Now, if you want to just continue doing what you're doing, it don't matter. As long as you keep putting W's up, and then people say they want to see him fight somebody good, which I would like to see him fight someone that can fight back. But here's what you do. When you're fighting, when you box, your first 10 or 11 fights, they're going to build you up. And then they're going to incrementally get your better competition. But because Jake Paul's Jake Paul and he's got that name, people, they want to expedite the process. And if people are dumb enough to pay for fights like this, why not take advantage of it? So if I'm Jake Paul, I'm taking advantage of this situation right now. And fuck expediting the process. Get another fucking guy that can't fight back and just make money. Because after all, it's all about making money in today's world. But he does got some skill, not going to lie. And people say if it was an MMA match that Ben Askren would have killed him, wouldn't be so sure of that. What makes you think Ben Askren would be able to take him down and out-wrestle him? Jake Paul was a pretty good wrestler in high school. I'm not saying he was at the quality of the level that Ben Askren was, but who's to say he gets Jake Paul down? He's going to catch a few rights coming in, and we see what happened when he got caught with that knee a couple years ago. So I don't even think Ben Askren wins an MMA fight against Jake Paul, and I think Ben Askren knows that. He was a tailor-made opponent. So Dana White, my question to you is, how's it feel to know that Jake Paul is the biggest name in combat sports? And UFC fighters, take a page out of Jake Paul. You don't need Dana White. You guys can set fights up on your own. What do you need him for? Take some of your purse? Huh? Because you guys should make as much as boxers, but you don't. So why do you need Dana White? Think about it. You guys can say, hey, you guys ain't in a contract with UFC right now. You can go to Jake Paul and say, let's get a fight deal worked out. What do you need Dana White for? So he can take half the purse? Nah, you don't need Dana White. Trust me. You also try getting out of your contracts and setting your own fights up. Hey, Dana, how you like me now?